Hello, my friends. This is Angel Aviles with 30 Inspiring Women in 30 Days. And today I have a friend that I've known for many, many years. We graduated from high school together. We have been through a ton. Her name is Teresa Maria Lebron. Teresa graduated with me from high school performing arts in New York City. She went on to SUNY Purchase for her BFA in dance and worked as a professional dancer, touring with many well-known artists, including Backstreet Boys, Puffy, Celine Dion and Aliyah. She transitioned out of the dance industry and had a successful career in real estate until the crash. It was this and other events in life that ultimately led Teresa to take her love for yoga to a new level. She discovered her purpose and passion for teaching. Today she shares and spreads her wealth of knowledge and experience and says it's a dream come true to teach. Hey, T, what's going on?
Hi, how are you? I'm good. Happy to be on this journey with you. This is awesome. I love what you're doing and what it represents.
Awesome. I love what you're doing. It's funny because I feel like we don't really get to see each other, so I just watch you on social media, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Yes. I love that you're pursuing your passion and that you found this beautiful, healthy journey. So I know the question I'm about to ask you, but I want you to share with the audience how you grew up, what the culture of your house was like, how you grew up, and ultimately we'll get to how you've ended up here on your journey.
How I grew up. I grew up in a pretty tight-knit family, super, super loving and supportive. Both my parents were they were kind of revolutionary in a way. Both Puerto Rican my mom New York originally, my dad from Puerto Rico, but both from New York City, so I am also born and bred in New York. I'm raised in the Bronx and lived in Manhattan and also in Brooklyn. And pretty artistic, I would say. So I was exposed to music and art, lots of dancing, Yoga has always had different kind of spurts in my life. Even as a child, when I was about 5, my mom was also very into holistic lifestyle. She is now an acupuncturist. And at the time, she had a short stint of teaching yoga, and I actually was like her little demonstrator one time when she did a home practice. And so maybe that was a seed that was planted at that point, but I would say as I became an adult, as a dancer, I always went to yoga, especially on the road and being on tour and stuff. You kind of need somewhere or something to kind of bring you centered and ground you a little bit because it can get really hectic out there. And so yoga was my place for that. And I always returned to it for also body maintenance, to prevent injury or maybe recovering from injuries and that sort of thing. And definitely for, mind, body, spirit alignment, which I very much teach now as well. I incorporate that in my practice. Once I stopped dancing, I returned to yoga and also there are some other traumatic things in life that brought me to that. I've also witnessed other women and people who have really healed from yoga.
You've overcome certain trauma of life, and you've also witnessed how yoga has helped other women overcome trauma. So I wanted to talk about that because, of course, that's something that is very interesting to me, the whole mind-body-spirit connection in yoga and how you've actually personally witnessed it happen in your life, the transformation that happened in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lifesaver for sure and on so many levels. But some years ago, I'd been married, pretty, good marriage, although it took a turn and kind of towards the end, we became pregnant and I was pregnant with identical twin boys. I went through a traumatic loss of the boys, of premature labor at 5.5 months, where they had noticed maybe when I was about 17 weeks, one of my exams, my cervix was very thin and small, and so I had to go in for an emergency surgery, which is called a cerclage, and put on bed rest for the duration of my pregnancy. But I then had a growth spurt and went into premature labor, and unfortunately, they were not able to survive. I did have to give birth. Yeah, totally floored me, changed my life. Like I lost so much. being so, I would say, close to death really alters your mindset and your spirit. But I went through a lot of support with family. The marriage stayed for a little while, but I ultimately came to a place where I needed to step away. I believe strongly in my faith, in God, and my practice in yoga, and, really more about the spirituality of things, that it led me to really seek out a lot more healing. And I was introduced to Bikram yoga, but through that Bikram practice, I started really healing. And so it just really brought me back to my body and taking care of me. And I knew at some point that if I did not, I was going to kind of lose my mind, to be honest. This replaced dance for me. It gave me a discipline. It gave me something to look forward to and something to do on a regular basis that I was able to grow through. And it's kind of like, going to church. Like you have that place to find your place of serenity. I live in California and all of my family is in New York. So during these times, it was comforting for me. It was like my hugs and my support as I was also healing from the inside out, literally. When you go to take your yoga classes, you meet other people and sometimes share stories, and quite often times teachers share their stories. And I found that there were many other people who went through some either physical or mental or emotional traumatic things that brought them to yoga to teach. And so there's a connection that always happens as a student to teacher and vice versa. That started happening more regular for me, I would say, back in like 2006 or 7. And I've been committed to it ever since, and it's just grown more and more. And as time went on, I really realized that it was for me, these next chapters in my life, to actually teach and to kind of share the wealth and the knowledge of the practice with others. It's made me stronger, made me be able to come to a place without having to take medication, it was also like my therapy, coming out of divorce, coming out of losing children almost at the same time, and actually starting new at an age where, you're nearing 40, and to start fresh at that time is mind-blowing. But again, yoga really helped me and guided me through, and continues to now. The more that I've learned to find more of who I am inside, which yoga really helps you to do as well, besides giving you nice strong legs and abs and arms and that sort of thing. It made me come to a better understanding of my truth. And the more I live in my truth and I walk in my truth, so to speak, actually the better things start to unfold. And the hardships of like being on the grind and trying to have a job here or have a job there, it starts to melt away. And honestly, at this point in time now, thank God for it, is that, and thankful to my practice that it's all falling into place.
Couple of things I want to talk to you about, in particular as they apply to the audience that follows me. One is, can you be a Christian and practice yoga?
Right.
Can you be Catholic and practice yoga?
Okay,
Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. Yoga, there's no judgment on body type, on gender, on sex, like none of that, and not on spiritual elements either. It's more non-denominational. I'm Christian, and I've been exposed and raised in Catholic, and as I got older, some Buddhism as well. But Christianity spoke to me most. So does yoga, which for me is also a practice that I fuse them together. And honestly, they work really, really well together and very much speak the same language. It's really about doing good unto others without any expectation of receiving any benefits from that. Although you do, I mean, it's kind of a law of attraction that does happen. It's setting, positive mindset and goals. It's very cleansing to the soul because there is no judgment. The meditation and the practice of it can be associated with prayer as well. Like for me, I pray and meditate. Like those are things that are almost one and the same for me. I can sometimes do them separately or sometimes together. It really creates a balance for me personally and for many people, I believe.
Well, okay, two last questions.
Sure.
Last questions. One is that someone can look at you and your body's crazy. So it's
no, girl.
you're in this incredible shape. Yes, girl, just take the compliment and, It's true. Your body is incredible. But when you look at somebody like you look like the yogini. If someone were to see your picture, and I'm going to post your picture, so they will see your picture, and they'll say, well, of course she can do all this crazy stuff. What about someone who is a very beginner, someone who may be physically intimidated? Where do they start?
They just start, basically, and I understand that. I mean, thank you for the compliment, and I really appreciate that. And the body changes even still, no matter what. But even as far as I've gone and being an instructor, there's still so much more for me to learn. There's still things that I don't totally do. But what I can do is because of the practice and because I feed my body well, I take care of my body. I also, live life in a balanced way. I'll have my time with my girls, and we'll have some wine and, have some powwows, and we'll go to dinner. But I choose the healthiest possible choices I can make. And I used to be a dancer, so from very young, it's kind of a muscle memory, but it's not something to be intimidated by. I mean, I would hope that when you want instruction in something that you really want to do, the person who is instructing you, you want to aspire to that in some way, shape, or form, right? But not be intimidated by it and understand that they are where they are and what they're doing because of the work that was put in prior. There are other teachers that I look up to that I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so far to go, and I'm excited about it and look forward to it. So I just say all of that to then bring me to the answer where it doesn't matter where you are in your life, what age you are in your life, what is going on with your body, how you look, because, especially for women and men too, we are told to look a certain type of way in order to be able to be physical or to do physical things. And honestly, there are so many different body types. What works for you will come once you just get in there. You just have to go. I've heard people say, oh, yeah, I just need to, go to the gym a little bit and then I'm going to come and take your class. That doesn't make any sense. You don't need to lose weight to start to take yoga. It's not about size. I have a variety of body types that are in my classes. And honestly, some who are, quote, unquote, look the most fit have the most difficult time sometimes. Again, it's really about mind, body, spirit alignment. The physicality comes. The flexibility comes. The weight starts to drop off. And all of these things start to happen. And I want to say, you guys, meaning the audience listening right now, it's honestly changing habits. All of those ideas and myths about, well, I can't do that, so maybe I shouldn't try it, they just really melt away. Like, the first step is just showing up. I've had people, and I tell people, even if you just come into the room and sit on the mat for that 1 hour and watch, you're doing yoga. And if that's what it takes to start getting you going, that's totally fine. I have, for an example, one student who, first time ever taking yoga, this man, I see him now and it fills my heart, but he would always stand in the back. He would never look at himself in the mirror, has grown so much, has come to a regular practice, 6:30 a.m. classes, 8 a.m. classes, basically almost every day, and now stands in the front of class. Now looks at himself in the mirror, has dropped some weight, has totally changed his body. His flexibility, he could not touch his toes. Now his head practically touches the floor. Like, it's tremendous, the change that has happened for his life, his confidence, his happiness. He's even gone on a yoga retreat. He's a testimony to those people who feel like they're super beginners and feeling intimidated. You really will be empowered. And so, again, I'm going to say I just encourage you to just get on the mat, just step in the room, just come on in and take it from there. Every day is one at a time.
I love that, and it just speaks to the fact that you are an amazing teacher, because I already want to go take the class. The other thing I want to cover, because I think this is actually also a fascinating story to me, and it also speaks to a lot of what we both believe, which is that there is just something divine, and when you have a purpose and it's not your time, it's not your time. I just want to talk quickly about what happened with Aliyah.
That's so crazy. That's like a lifetime ago for me in that experience. But all of us that have experienced that, we have a special bond. And recently there were some friends who actually paid a tribute to her about a week ago. I unfortunately could not participate in it. She's still so celebrated, and then so many generations that are coming up still love her music and choreography. Together with it, they're knowing the videos, and this is from a really long time ago. It's almost as if she's still here, you know, residing with us. She definitely left too early, but, you know, that's not for us to say. Those who were affected by her only were affected in the most positive way. She really just brought really sweet, mellow vibes. She was like an angel, so was her voice, and offered up opportunities for all of us too. Like, it was just a different type of exposure that I think brought to many of us. And, you know, it was a blessing. Unfortunate that her time was cut so short, so to speak, but looking on the brighter side, thank God that we did have that time and that moment to share with her, and that she also was able to, you know, live her dream and her purpose. And she did it very well. She really, really did. It was super sad. The people who were there, we're bonded for life. And it was a scary thing because many of us, we were so close to being on that plane as well. But for some reason, we were held back to continue working. And we stayed on set in the Bahamas, finishing up parts of the video. That blew our minds as well. We just couldn't believe it.
To me, that just was, even as a young person, you have to think like, wow, that wasn't me. So why am I here, and what's my purpose?
That's a good point. Yes, honestly, that's probably what clicked inside of me to, you know, I kind of stopped dancing, and maybe, you know, sometimes I feel like I may have stopped prematurely, but that just kind of pulled the rug from underneath me a little bit, and I also soon thereafter got engaged and married right away within like months. Thinking back, there was a reassessment of like, oh my gosh, what's going on with life right now, you know, and I guess in that moment I proceeded with doing what seemed to be what was needed for, you know, the change in life at that time. Even with trials and tribulations, you know, I still wouldn't change it. You know, I still love the experiences that I had, good or bad, and I really embraced it. I know, you know, some people are like, yeah. How can you? But you kind of have no choice. And I always have been a person to find the brighter reasoning of things, or you know, to pull the positive out of what is really tough. When I'm rock bottom, I still look for the positive, and that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me moving forward. That's what keeps me going to yoga and staying on the mat to help me through my life, for sure.
Well, those were my questions. This concludes our little chat. I thank you so much for sharing your heart. Now, how do people get in touch with you? You're here in LA. How else may people get in touch with you?
I can be reached at yoga_soul_, and that's my handle for Instagram. And I'm Teresa Lebron, also Yoga Soul /Yoga Soul for Facebook, LinkedIn as well. And Twitter, you can follow me on all of those. I have a website that is www.yogasoul.com, but at the moment it's down because I'm rebuilding that. So if you want to just hold on to it, and you will see it advertised again on my other social media outlets, I will be coming back with a, you know, much better, brighter website to look at. You can also email me at tmlebron@gmail.com, because I also do private. I can be found as far as teaching at Hot 8 Yoga. Hot 8 Yoga is located a few locations, but the main location that I work out of is at Sherman Oaks, that's in the Valley, and sometimes I'm also at Koreatown or the Beverly Hills location. And I also regularly, for the past year now, it's been amazing as well, Tantra Center for Yogic Science is in West Hollywood, and I teach there as well. So just go on the website, tantris.com and hot8yoga.com, and if you click on to instructors, you can get a little insider as to, like, the bio and, you know, where our careers came from and where they've gone to. And then also you just click on, when you click on to instructors, it'll also give you the scheduling of our days and times that we teach, and you can always follow there as well.
I love it. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you, Angel. Thank you. All right, take care.